Log into gyroscopemeet.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world. You're listening to GS Radio, internet radio station powered by GMG LLC.
Time on Joshua Radio is Big Fat once again for a special edition of the Rashad with the show on a Sunday afternoon from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Right now it's 1:29, but it's supposed to be 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. But we're supposed to be at 1 o'clock, but it's going to be from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Special edition of the Rashad with the show, 353rd episode. It's time to get into it. It's 1:30 right now, so I'm right on time. Let's get into it, man. The college football is going to start with the college football. Save the NFL for the second half of the show, but I'm going to start with the college football. Because there's a new champion in college football, and it's the Michigan Wolverines. They are the new national champions of college football in 2023. They did it finally, first time in 26 years. They are the national champions of college football, and it did with what they've been doing all year, and that's running the football. They ran the football, they played excellent defense. That's the reason why they won the game, because they did with defense, got pressure on Michael Penix Jr., but they did with the running game. They ran for 303 yards. It all started with Edwards, Donovan Edwards. He was the catalyst. He got everything started with his 40-plus yard touchdowns. That's what got started, man. He ran for a long time for a touchdown, as far as the yardage is concerned, 40-plus yards, and that was what set the tone. They had a 14-3 lead, and then Corum started to get it going, and he was able to get 2 rushing touchdowns and over 100 yards. Both running backs ran for over 100 yards. So when you have that, you're definitely going to be successful. And they was able to win, going away 34-13 to claim the national championship outright, undefeated, unbeaten. Will that be the last game for Coach Harbaugh? It remains to be seen. I believe he's going back to the NFL. He had great success in the NFL as far as winning football. No, he's all about winning. He did a lot of winning. Didn't win a championship, but he did go to the championship games a few times. Went to the Super Bowl, lost to Baltimore. So he's a big-time coach, and I think we're gonna see what happens from there. Whether he's gonna be back at Michigan. But I want to start the show talking about the college football first, because obviously I've been talking college football all year during the season. So I picked this team to win the championship with my picks of the week. I thought they was going to beat Washington, and I was correct on that. So that concludes my season of college football. I was 58-19 going into this game. So I was 2-0. I got Washington, Texas game right, Michigan over Alabama. Then I picked Michigan over Washington. So my record was 59-19. Finished with 59 wins and 19 losses. So I did pretty good this year, 59-19. So I was right with that. So that concludes the season of college football. As I continue on, a lot has been going on in college football as far as coaches. When you look at the fact that Nick Saban, end of an era at Alabama, he retires and already has a brand new coach already. Alabama already has a brand new coach, Alabama, and Kalen DeBoer, the coach that coached the Washington Huskies in that championship game, which they lost 34-13. He's now the coach of Alabama. So he became the new coach of Alabama just like that. So it's amazing how things go when it comes to, a coach that loses in that championship game, and now he's the coach of Alabama. He's at the place a legend in Nick Saban. Nick Saban was a great coach. Won 6 national championships. His body of work cannot be not denied. They were a dynasty for a long time, maybe the greatest dynasty ever, because it started in 2008. Once that second year rolled around, they were dominant after that. They was always in the national championship game. They was always playing for rights to win the national championship. And now, who's going to replace that? It's going to be a tough act to follow for Kalen DeBoer to replace the legend. It's not easy. Because think about it, man. Before Saban got there, Alabama was not a big-time program. They was not as good. I mean, you got to go back to 1992. Gene Stallings, who coached Alabama, they won the national championship against Miami in '92. But after that, they hadn't won a championship in a long time. It had been 17 years since they won in 2009 against Texas. So when you look at Alabama, they wasn't relevant until Saban came. He became the best coach they had since Bill Bryant. Definitely, he got 7 national championships. One with LSU, and he has one with the University of Alabama. He has 6 with them, and 1 with LSU. So he's one of the great coaches, man. He's like John Wooden. He's like an institution of what he brought to the table. He made Alabama a gold standard for college football. He made Alabama the team to beat. They was always in the top tier of contenders for championships. They was always in the mix. They was always there. They ain't win it every year, but they was always in the mix to win it every year. That's how great Saban was. And again, you gotta have the players, obviously, to make this thing happen. Once you hit the players, you're definitely gonna be tough to deal with from that perspective. So I think from that standpoint, I think Nick Saban's legend speaks for itself. It was surprising that he decided to retire, maybe because the NIL deals, the game is different. The NIL deals, players getting paid, the transfer portal, it's a lot going on. The game has changed in college football. So I can see that that's the reason why he left. He decided to go. But he had nothing to prove. I mean, maybe he can go back to the NFL, but that's not going to happen. But 7 national championships, man, that's a lot of championships. 11 SEC championships. What can you say? One of the all-time greats. 292 wins, only 71 losses, 1 tie. Didn't do so well at the National Football League. Remember, he coached the Miami Dolphins for a couple of seasons, from 2005 to 2006. And he was 15 and 17, so he didn't do that well. Great as he is, he wasn't great at the pro level. So I want to talk about that. That was a big story this week, with Alabama losing a legend in Nick Saban, and they hired Kalen DeBoer to replace Nick Saban. So he's the new coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's gonna be tough, man. I mean, Alabama not gonna be the same. I don't think they're gonna have the same success that they had with Nick Saban. Yes, he's a coach, but what he did for his recruiting, what he brought to the table when he got there, that's gonna be tough to replace. It's gonna be hard, because when you talk about great coaches, it's tough to replace that great coach. It's not easy. Whether it be John Wooden, whether it be, whoever may concern, any sport, it's hard to replace that great coach and have that same kind of success. It's hard, it's difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult. So we'll see what Kalen DeBoer does. Now he's the new head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. So I want to get into that, start the show with the national championship game perspective on that, and with Michigan and Washington. Other thing I want to do is get into, I was going to get to UFC fighting schedule, and talk a lot about the NBA. I'll take my break songs. These break songs probably at 2:30, maybe 2:15, something like that. But we're going to get into it right now, as far as covering a lot in this first half of the show. The college football, UFC fighting schedule, and the NBA. A lot of talk about the NBA. They get to some sporting events, like headlines. Talk about that as well. So it's gonna be 1 hour for like 2:15, something like that. Half an hour, 2:15. I don't think I'm gonna go over to 2:30, but maybe 2:15. So that's it, man. College football is sad to see it go. Michigan's the national champions, but I did see somewhere, I don't know if I have it on my phone, it was about, yeah, here it is. I'm gonna go over, since the national championship was won by Michigan, ESPN came up with a 2024 way too early college football top 25. I like these top 25 polls. Now, the thing you gotta understand is that in 2024 college football season is gonna be different in terms of the format. Now, what we used to see is the 4-team playoff format. Now it's gonna go to a 12-team playoff format. With the realignment, we're gonna have a lot of teams playing in different conferences. You got Washington, for example. Washington, they're gonna be in the Big Ten. Matter of fact, they're gonna be playing Michigan next year. I gotta look at the schedule, look at that real shortly, because that's what's gonna be the narrative, man. Washington is going to the Big Ten. USC is going to the Big Ten. UCLA is going to the Big Ten. So you got these teams from the Pac-12. That's it. Never. That's it. It's it for the University of Washington playing the Pac-12. USC, UCLA. They're gonna be going to the Big Ten now. So that's gonna be top heavy. So from that perspective, so that's the thing that stands out when we go into next season. You're gonna have let's look at Michigan's schedule. Michigan, since they defended champions, I think they got a tough schedule next year, rightfully so. I think they play Texas next year, but I think they play Washington, who they beat in the national championship game. I want to see the schedule if it's out. Let's see. Okay, I see right here. So they start the season. Matter of fact, the college football season looks like it's going to be starting on August 31st, because Michigan plays Fresno State on August 31st on a Saturday. Then they play at home against Texas Longhorns. And Texas, Oklahoma, they're going to be joining the SEC next year. They're no longer be part of the Big 12, so they're going to be in the SEC. So you got that. So they play Fresno State at home against Texas, at home against Fresno State, at home against Texas, at home against Arkansas State. They play USC at home against Minnesota. So you see USC, why is that? Because USC is going to be in the Big Ten next year. So they play at home. They got a lot of home games to start the season. They're not going to be playing on the road no time soon. They play at home against Fresno State on August 31st. Texas at home on September 7th. Arkansas State September 14th. USC September 21st. At home against Minnesota September 28th. They travel to Washington on October the 5th in Washington. So you know they're going to be looking for revenge. But I think Michigan should be the favorite. It depends on who they bring back. We're going to get into that shortly. But when you talk about that, they play Washington next season because they're going to be joining the Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be top heavy next year to see who's going to win the national championship. It's going to be widespread. You're going to have 12 teams, vying for a playoff spot. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens as far as that's concerned. So I'm going over the schedule for Michigan next year. They play, after a bye week, they play at Illinois on October 19th. They play Michigan State at home. Then they play Oregon at home on November 2nd. Indiana at their place, home against Northwestern. And they close the season at Ohio State. So it's a pretty tough schedule. They have a tough schedule next year. Much tougher schedule than they did this year. Because you look at their schedule, they ain't being anybody good except for Penn State, who's a little very overrated, and Ohio State. Now you play who you play on your schedule. But compared to this season's schedule to next season's schedule, it's like night and day. They gotta play Texas, USC, Washington, Oregon, and Ohio State. So that's gonna get much tougher than it was last year. But Michigan still should be good next year, despite if they lose Jim Harbaugh or whoever at the certain positions on this team, they're still gonna be good because they're Michigan. They definitely have a lot of recruits, transfer portals who knows wants to come and play for Michigan. We'll see. But that's what I wanted to go over their schedule. Okay, so let's get into this poll that ESPN put together for next year for top 25. Now, number 25, they had Iowa Hawkeyes. Now they were 10-4 this year, 7-2 in the Big Ten. They're gonna lose. Expected key loss will be Cooper DeJohn, cornerback punter Tory Taylor, guard Rusty Feff, the defensive tackle Logan Lee, defensive end Joe Evans, wide receiver Nico Reganey. Key additions will be Cody Fox at guard, linebacker Preston Rise, linebacker Cam Buffington, quarterback James Rezar, offensive tackle Will Nolan, kicker Rise Bacon. Now the outlook with Iowa is that Iowa averaged 15.4 points per game in 2023. That ranked 132nd out of 133 FBS teams in scoring offense. So the Hawkeyes somehow managed to win 10 games and capture a Big Ten West title. But they were shut out in the final 2 games. Against Michigan, they lost 26-0 in the Big Ten championship game. They lost 35-0 in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. So it was the first time Iowa had been shut out in consecutive games since 1966. So that's the thing that stands out with that. And Iowa played its final 9 games without the starting quarterback Cade McNamara at quarterback, who tore an ACL on September the 30th. So Jamari Harris, the cornerback, and Jay Higgins, linebacker, they announced that they're coming back. So that's narrative, that's storyline that. Punter Tory Taylor, he's leaving after setting the NCAA record for punting yards in a season, 4,479 yards. Right, number 24, SMU Mustangs. They were 11-3 this past season. Their key loss is going to be nose tackle Jordan Miller, defensive tackle Elijah Chapman, linebacker Nelson Paul, cornerback Charles Woods, cornerback Chris Meganson, offensive tackle Hiram White. Then you got the key additions for next season, 2024, defensive lineman Mike Lockhart, cornerback Deuce Harmon, offensive tackle Savion Bird, defensive end Amari Abor, defensive lineman Jonathan Jefferson, offensive lineman Nate Anderson, linebacker Justin Medlock, wide receiver Ashton Kozart, and defensive end Jafari Harvey. So SMU, outlook on them is that they have quite a swan song in the American Athletic Conference, winning the conference title, putting together the best season since Eric Dickerson and Craig James were part of the Pony Express, the backfield in 1982. Now they make the transition success to the ACC, the SMU. So starting quarterback Preston Stone, who broke his leg, didn't play in the AAC championship games, coming back. Jalen Knighton, and potential 4 starting offensive linemen. Getting defensive end Elijah Roberts to return was another coup for Coach Nat Lashley. So the Mustangs will need to find new starting quarterbacks in the spring and shore up the interior defensive line. Number 23, Louisville. Number 23, Kansas Jayhawks. They had number 23 Kansas Jayhawks at number 23. Now they finished 9-4. They're gonna lose a lot of players. When you look at them, the outlook for next year for Kansas, that if Jalen James recovers from a back injury, they'll be pretty good. They got some work to do in the trenches with the offensive linemen, 3 of them departing and leaving. Booker at the top pass rusher. Obviously, leading rusher Devin Neal, top receivers Lawrence Arnold, Quentin Skinner, Luke Grimm are all returning. So that's the outlook on that. Number 22, Louisville. They was 10-4 in the ACC. Obviously, they're gonna lose some players, gain some players. So that's the thing that stands out with that. The Cardinals will add at least 17 transfers, including several on offense, who might jumpstart their inconsistent passing game. Show turns 25 in September. He'll be playing in his 7th season. His 7th season of college football. He is 13-7 as a starter at Oregon and Texas A&M. Also coming back next year is Ashton Gillette, 11 sacks, Mason Rieger. Players like that is coming back. Right, number 21 is Kansas State Wildcats. They was 9-4 this season. Outlook with them is that Kansas State will have to move forward without Howard. That meaning Will Howard, the quarterback. who left for Ohio State. Former offensive coordinator Colin Klein, who left for Texas A&M. So Kleinman promoted offensive line coach Connor Riley to co-offensive coordinator, and hired former Texas Tech coach Matt Wells to work with him. So they're gonna have Avery Johnson as new quarterback next year. Number 20, they had NC State Wolfpack. They were 9-4 this year. The quarterback situation is going to be solved because they're going to have Coastal Carolina starter Grayson McCall. He's going to be the quarterback, it looks like, who passed for more than 10,000 yards with 106 total touchdowns with the Chanticleers. The Wolfpack also signed Jordan Waters, who was the Duke's leading rusher with 819 yards, 12 scores in 2023. Correll was a 3-year starting center at Notre Dame. So Wolfpack will have to find place for Wilson and Scott, combined to make 213 tackles. Also, they have a lot of holes to fill in the secondary. Number 19, the Clemson Tigers, man. They definitely fell off this year. When you look at Clemson Tigers, they're definitely not a dynasty. Now, when you look at Alabama, I don't think they're going to have the same dynastic run that they had when Coach Saban was the coach. But I think, same thing with Clemson, I think they finished as a program as we knew them. I think it showed this year with them losing 4 games, 4-4 in the ACC. They're just not as good. They won 9 games in 2020 for the 13th season in a row. They finished in the top 25 in the final AP poll for the 13th consecutive season, which is good. But they were 4-4 at the end of October, and now the college football playoff race for the 3rd straight season. So that shows you how the mighty has fallen at the University of Clemson. They're not the same program as they used to be. So Cade Klubnik, the quarterback, must continue to improve. Dallas Sweet needs to find some weapons. Will Shipley's going into the draft. And Bo Collins, he's transferred to Notre Dame. So hiring former Ole Miss coach Mac Luke to coach the offensive line should help an inconsistent unit. So see what happens with that. Number 18, Oklahoma State Cowboys. Obviously, they're no longer be playing the Big 12. Let's see where they're going to be playing next year or a conference, because they came from the Big 12, so they know they're going to be playing the Big 12. So it's interesting to see where they're going to be going. I think they're going to be in the Big 12. Excuse me, beg your pardon. The Big 12 still exists. I'm thinking about the Pac-12. The Big 12 is still going to be in existence. The only thing is they're not going to have Oklahoma and Texas to be in the conference. So Oklahoma State will have to challenge Utah and Arizona. Looks like they're going to be in the revamped Big 12 conference. Because they play Kansas State, TCU on the road, Colorado, BYU, and Baylor. Right, number 17, Tennessee Volunteers. They were 9-4 this year. Next year, you're going to have Nico Amaliva. He's going to be starting next year, seems like. He was the number 4 pocket passer in the 2023 ESPN 300. He got solid receivers returning back: Squirrel White, Lou McCoy, people like that, Chris Brazell, people like that. Number 16, Florida State Seminoles. Now, they obviously did a disgraceful job of not competing or playing their players in the Orange Bowl against the Georgia Bulldogs, where they lost 63-3 because guys opted out. They lost by 60 points. That was the worst defeat in program history for Florida State. A program that always played in big games, always had great players, but they decided to opt out. But anyway, the additions to the team, DJ Ugule. Now he's going to be playing on his 3rd college team. This guy was a big recruit coming from where he came from, being at Clemson. Then he transferred to Oregon State. Now he's going to Florida State. So DJ Ugule is going to be the starting quarterback at the University of Florida State. So see how they build on this quarterback that they got. He has 40 career games that he started, 40 career games at Clemson, at Oregon State. That's what makes this transfer portal so bad. Because why allow these athletes to go to this college, that college, that college? There's no sustainability, no continuity with a certain quarterback. It's always this quarterback bouncing around. It's not just the quarterbacks, it's any player. The offensive position, they always want to leave. This is 3rd college. So he's gonna be playing with his third college team in his college career. Also, they got a big addition of Jones. See, Marvin Jones, former Georgia linebacker whose father was an All-American, Marvin Jones, back in the '90s. So he's gonna be on this on the defense, Landon Thomas and stuff like that. So Florida State projected to be at number 16 according to this poll. Number 15, Oklahoma Sooners. Obviously, they're going to be joining the SEC next year, led by Coach Brent Venables. They improved from 67 to 10-3. They beat Texas 34-30. But the problem is they're going to lose. They're losing Dylan Gabriel. I think he's going to Oregon. I think. But so freshman Jackson Arnold is going to be next in line to replace him. He has all the tools. He needs to cut down his mistakes. 4 to 5 starting offensive line will have to be replaced. Stuff like that. That's what stands out with that. LSU Tigers, they're going to be ranked 14 according to this ESPN poll. Obviously going to be losing Jaden Daniels. He's off to the NFL draft. So they got a new heir apparent, and that's Garrett Nussmeier, who waited 3 years for the starting job. Seems more than ready to take over. He played well in the Reliable Quest Bowl, throwing for 395 yards and 3 scores in a 35-31 victory over Wisconsin. So we won't have Neighbors and Thomas, who are potential first-round picks. So we'll see what happens with that. Number 13, Utah Utes. Had a lot of injuries this past season. Cameron Rising, tight end Brant Kuthi missed the entire campaign, recovering from knee injuries, and tailback Micah Bernard missed all but 2 games with the injury. So they struggled offensively on offense. They struggled, and they lost 4 of their last 6 games during the season. So see how things turn out with that. They got 4 sophomores and 1 freshman that started on the offensive line in the bowl game. So 3 stars will have to be replaced in the secondary as well. So see what happens with Utah. Then you got Penn State. Penn State Nittany Lions, number 12 team in the country, very underachieving. This program, they had ranked 80th in the FBS in passing offense, averaging 215 yards per game. That's not good. But they got Drew Allure coming back, going running backs Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen, and tight end Tyler Warren. And also, but unfortunately, the offensive tackles have to be replaced. They leave in the receiving room needs about a major upgrade. Also, they lost Manny Diaz, defensive coordinator. Now he's the coach of the Duke Blue Devils head coaching team. He coaches the Duke Blue Devils. He's a new head coach. So they're gonna lose Manny Diaz. And then when you look at the Huskies, obviously they're gonna have a new coach. We don't know who that is because they lost Kalen DeBoer. He's with Alabama. So who's going to be the new coach of the Washington Huskies? We don't know yet. I don't think I saw anything where who's going to be the next coach. But when we look at this squad, Will Rogers is going to be, no matter of fact, Will Rogers, I think, transferred. I mean, you look into that. Because this poll came out right after the championship game was won. So I think Will Rogers enters the transfer portal. Yeah, he entered the transfer portal, Will Rogers. So they're not going to have him. So he's entered the transfer portal on Friday night. He's supposed to be the replacement to Michael Penix Jr., but he is leaving. He's into the transfer portal, so they may not have a quarterback. So that's up in the air. But they're going to definitely lose Michael Penix Jr. They're going to lose the receivers, which is expected. Uma Doze and Jalen Pope. People like that. Now again, Washington is going to be joining the Big Ten. They're going to be playing on the road at Iowa, at Penn State, at Oregon. They will face Michigan and USC at home. Now that they're a Big Ten member. Let's get to the top 10. They had Notre Dame at number 10 to start the season next year. They're going to have Riley Leonard at quarterback. Now Riley Leonard, I think he's coming from Duke. Yeah, he had 43. He accounted for 43 touchdowns the past 3 seasons at Duke. So they landed also Chris Mitchell, the wide receiver from Florida International, and Bo Collins from Clemson, show up, the receiving core. So that's the thing, man. That's the climate of college football, is that all these transfer portals, in order for you to be really good, yes, you gotta recruit, but it's not like it used to be, where you just have a recruiting class to focus on. Now you gotta focus on people transferring. Okay, Arizona's Wildcats is number 9. They got them at number 9. Interesting. They would take a 7-game winning streak into the 2024 season. So they'd be jumping from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. So they may be among the favorites to win that Big 12 conference. They got Noah Fifita. He's one of the top freshman quarterbacks in the FBS. He was. For them, he was one of his favorite targets. Receiver Tito McMillan is also coming back. 4 stars also is going to return. Could also return on the offensive line. So they play on the road in the Big 12 against at BYU, Utah, TCU, and Central Florida. Number 8, Missouri. Got them at number 8. They were 11-2, very successful season. Brady Cook is coming back. Luther Burden III is returning. They could be a contender in the college football playoff according to this poll. Harper. Let's see who's this Harper. He was a Buckets Award finalist. Trying to find out who this Harper is. We skip that. But again, Missouri's going to be number 8 according to this poll. Number 7, we got the Ole Miss Rebels, man. 11-2 this past year. Interesting team. See what they do in the SEC next year. They expect to have, let's see, who's going to be their quarterback next year. Yeah, Jackson Dart, he's coming back. So see what happens with that. Walter Nolan, look out for him, defensive tackle Walter Nolan. He was the #1 prospect in 2022 ESPN 300 when he signed with Texas A&M. But he's going to be playing, obviously, with Ole Miss. And you look at their schedule, they will play the 2 toughest opponents, Oklahoma and Georgia, at home in 2024. Number 6, Michigan, the Wolverines, the defending champs. They were 15-0, 9-0 in the Big Ten. They're going to lose a lot of key players. J.J. McCarthy, he expected to leave. We'll see about that. Blake Corum's not coming back. Donovan Edwards may leave, so they're gonna lose some players. Ramon Wilson, Michael Barrett. So this is gonna be a different Michigan team. And then again, who knows what's gonna happen with Jim Harbaugh? Is Jim Harbaugh leaving? Okay, I got news right here. J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum will declare for the draft. They will declare for the draft today. They're leaving to go to the draft. But again, when you look at Corum, he was a senior. So when you're a senior, you're supposed to go to the draft. No, you're not an underclassman. Again, McCarthy may be underclassman, but anyway, it's the news came out that Blake Corum and J.J. McCarthy are leaving. They're going to the draft. They declared for the draft. They're going to be going to the draft. No surprise there. But this Michigan team definitely going to be a team in transition. Like I said, their schedule's going to be very difficult. I went over it just a while ago. They played their home games against Texas, USC, Oregon, road games against Washington, Ohio State. So their schedule's going to be much tougher with the teams being added to their schedule. Their schedule's going to be tough. And then when you look at the fact that they lose so many players, McCarthy gonna have a new quarterback, new running backs. The offensive line has to be rebuilt. The defense is gonna be replaced. So I don't think Michigan gonna be that good to repeat. I don't think so. I think he's gonna fall back a little bit. Now, if Jim Harbaugh comes back, we'll see. But if he leaves, the coach in the NFL, I don't think Michigan's going to repeat at all. I think they have a new champion in college football. Number 5, Ohio State Buckeyes. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not coming back. I think he recently announced he was declaring for the draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he decided to forego. I think he was a junior, so I think he's gonna stay for senior. He tends to enter the draft. He did that on Thursday. He entered the draft. He decided to enter the draft and leave. Junior, so he's gonna be gone. He's declaring for the draft. All right, so continue on. We have the 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Iowa State should be good. Obviously, Iowa State's had their troubles with Michigan the last 3 years. Haven't beaten them last 3 times they met. So they are 53-8 in the past 5 seasons, winning 2 Big Ten titles and reaching the college football playoff 3 times. But they can't beat Michigan, and obviously they lost to Missouri 14-3. Cal McCord has transferred to Syracuse, so they're gonna have Will Howard as a quarterback. He's gonna be the starting quarterback next year. So their schedule, they got at home against Iowa and Michigan. They're gonna be on the road against Oregon and Penn State. Number 4, Alabama. Obviously, no Nick Saban. Colin DeBoer's going to be coaching this team. This team is going to be very interesting to see how good this team is now that Nick Saban is gone. They didn't have the same kind of offensive firepower that he used to have, but we'll see. The jury's still out. Now look at this schedule. They got to play at Wisconsin, at Tennessee, at LSU, at Oklahoma. They got a home game against Georgia. So it's going to be interesting schedule. Oregon Ducks. Bo Nix is going to be gone as the quarterback. They got Dylan Gabriel coming from Oklahoma. He's going to be the starting quarterback, it looks like. The Highlands done a great job the first 2 seasons. 21-5. They signed number 3 ranked recruiting class in 2024. So they're going to be in the Big Ten. I have a new quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. See what happens now. Look at the schedule. They play at Michigan on November 2nd, and they got Washington or Ohio State at home. Texas is the number 2 team in the country according to this ESPN poll. The Texas Longhorns definitely are back. They were in the college football playoff. They're going to be returning 4 starting offensive linemen. I think Quinn Ewers is coming back. I think he is somewhere. Let's see, check his status on whether he's coming back. I think he's coming back. Yeah, he's going to return for his senior season. So Quinn Ewers is coming back. He's coming back to play his senior season with the Texas Longhorns once again. So he's coming back. So that's going to make them definitely one of the teams to win the national championship, and high expectations going to be at a high level for them. So you look at their schedule. They play at Michigan on September 7th. They play against Oklahoma, obviously, in Dallas, and Georgia at home in consecutive weeks. And then they close the regular season out with Texas A&M on November 30th. Then the number 1 team in the country, is no surprise here, is going to be the Georgia Bulldogs. Now this team could have won the 3rd national championship in a row, but that loss to Alabama in the championship game, snapped their 29-game winning streak. And they're gonna lose a lot of players, but they reload. They did lose. They're gonna lose Brock Bowers, but he's gonna be. Yeah, I think he's going to the draft. I think he's coming back. Let's look at Brock Bowers. He's the best tight end in the country. Let's see if he's leaving. Yeah, he's declared for the draft. So he's going to the draft. He's going to be going to the draft. High prospect, man. So they're gonna lose him, but they do reload. They know what they're capable of doing. They won 30 of their past 31 games, 46 out of 48. Carson Beck is coming back. He's gonna be returning for his senior season. And also, look at their schedule. They play against Clemson and Atlanta to start the season. Now, a season opener. Then they play road games in SEC at Kentucky, at Alabama, at Texas, at Ole Miss. We got Travis Etienne from Florida. And they have to develop depth in the interior defensive line and the secondary. That's going to be a priority. So that's the top 25. Way too early college football. Top 25 according to this ESPN poll. Once the championship was won by Michigan. So hopefully you enjoyed that. All right, let's get into UFC fighting schedule. Let's get into that. Matter of fact, I might as well save this for next week because it got for next Saturday. So I'll keep that for next week. Let's move on to the NBA. The National Basketball Association is getting some NBA talk. Let's get into that. Go to the NBA. I'll probably go to like 2:30 and take my breaks at 2:30. I thought I was gonna do 2:15, but no, I'm gonna do it to 2:30. So 2:30 will be the time to take my 4 music break song. So I'm gonna continue on the next 20 minutes, talk about some NBA. Like I said, I'm gonna save everything for the second half with the NFL. Everything. The regular season that ended last week. Go over the picks of the week for last week. The playoff scenario. The games from yesterday. With the playoffs and all that stuff. And give you a sneak preview of the games that's going to be played today and tomorrow. Remember, Buffalo and Pittsburgh are not going to be playing today because of the snowstorm that is coming to Buffalo. So they canceled it and they moved it to 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. So you're going to have a doubleheader. Buffalo and Pittsburgh at 4:30, and then at 8 o'clock, 8:15, you got Philadelphia and Tampa. So you got that coming out. So, but first and foremost, let's get into some NBA talk. I see right here they made a trade with Detroit Pistons. They traded Marvin Bagley III to the Wizards. Let's look into this trade. Now getting some NBA talk. I'll take my music break songs at 2:30. All right, the Detroit Pistons have traded forwards Marvin Bagley III and Isaiah Livers and 2 future second-round draft picks to the Washington Wizards for Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala. So the deal unloads $12.5 million in Bagley's guaranteed money for 2024 and 2025 off the books for the Pistons. The Wizards land second-round pick in 2025 and 2026 to take on the salary, sources said. So the rest of the players involved in the trade, Gallinari, Muscala, and Livers, are on expiring contracts. So the Pistons have been determined to add some veteran shooting to the roster, and Gallinari and Muscala can help Detroit spread the floor in limited roles this season. Now, obviously, these two teams are very, very bad. Obviously, the Pistons, they're the worst team in the NBA. They're 3-36. And the Wizards are 7-31, so are in at the bottom 2 spots in the Eastern Conference standings. Bagley averaged 10.2 points a game, 4.5 rebounds on 59.1% shooting on 18.4 minutes per game this season for the Pistons. He had been limited in his minutes under new coach Monty Williams, but was productive during his opportunities. So Bagley was the second overall pick in the 2018 draft out of Duke. It was traded to the Pistons. He was drafted by Sacramento Kings. Second overall pick 6 years ago, 2018. And was traded to the Pistons in 2021. So this is a trade that was made today. Let's get into the NBA. All NBA talk the rest of this hour. And then I'll take my 4 music break song. So, let's get into the NBA. Now, the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, honored the greats of the game. But the fans booed the late Jerry Krause, who built that team. He's a general manager. This is on Friday night. They did the Ring of Honor during halftime, where they celebrate the inaugural class of the great players that played with the Chicago Bulls. Again, when they played the Golden State Warriors on Friday, but they booed Jerry Krause, who passed away 7 years ago in 2017. Now, the first Ring of Honor class included 13 men in the entire 1995-96 team, which went 72-10 and won the NBA championship. So the Bulls were missing a few key members from that team. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman were absent from the festivities. Rodman was scheduled to appear, but he had travel plans canceled because of inclement weather. Both he and Jordan submitted video messages acknowledging the honor. Jordan said in the tape video message to fans that I'm so bummed that I can't be there tonight. I don't want that to stop the fun that you guys are going to have. In addition to Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman, 13-member inaugural class included Hall of Fame coach Phil Jackson, who received the loud cheers of the attendees, and Krause, who was general manager of the Bulls from 1985 to 2003. Krause's name was booed by the United Center crowd, and his widow Thelma, who represented him at the ceremony, was visibly emotional at the reception. So Krause was the architect of the Bulls' 6 championship teams, but often was blamed for the integration of the dynasty that he had been such a big part of building. Former Bulls forward Stacey King, now an analyst for NBC Sports Chicago, said when play resumed in the third quarter that he was disappointed in the fans who booed, calling them classes. King said, "I'm telling you what, Chicago's a sports town. What we witnessed today when Jerry Krause's name was called, the people that booed Jerry Krause and his widow, who was accepting this honor for him, it was the worst thing I ever seen in my life. Hurt for that lady. Brought her to tears. Whoever booed her in this arena should be ashamed of themselves." Michael Reinsdorf, the CEO and the Bulls president, addressed the situation in a statement to NBC Sports Chicago, in which he lauded Krause as an important part of our history. His legacy deserves to be celebrated and respected. Reinsdorf's statement read in part, "We were incredibly honored to have Thelma with us this evening to recognize Jerry as a member of the inaugural Chicago Bulls Ring of Honor. Warriors coach Steve Kerr, who played 5 seasons in Chicago from 1993 to 1998, was grateful that the Bulls scheduling allowed for him to be in attendance Friday, and said he was in a locker room at the time, but heard about the booing, which the cry is absolutely shameful. I'm devastated for Thelma and for the Krause family," Kerr said. "I cannot believe that the fans, and you have to understand, when you hear boos, it's not all of them. The fans who boo, they know who they are. To me, it's absolutely shameful, and I'm devastated by that. Whether people like Jerry or not, we're here to celebrate that team. Jerry did an amazing job building that team, and I'm so disappointed in the fans. And I want to be specific because there were a lot of fans who I'm sure did not boo. But those who booed, they should be ashamed." DeMar DeRozan said of Crowley said, "You can never take away what he created. Without Jerry, there wouldn't be a story of Chicago's history." DeRozan said, "Family friends that are still here ought to be appreciated, shouldn't be disrespected." Also, among the 13 Ring of Honor inductees were Artis Gilmore, played with Chicago Bulls Johnny Red Kerr, Dick Klein, Tony Kukoc, Bob Love, Jerry Sloan, Chet Walker, and Tex Winter, in addition to the 1995-96 team, which was referred to as the greatest team in NBA history. Chicago celebrated the inaugural class at a private gala at the United Center on Thursday before it recognized it in front of a packed crowd during an extended halftime session Friday against Kerr's Warriors. The Warriors won that game 140 to 131. So the Bulls will add to the Ring of Honor every 2 years, and will, with the next class being rebuilt in 2026. That's the storyline on that. All right, so let's get into more headlines dealing with the NBA. Got 13 more minutes left in this first half of the show. Okay, Ime Udoka, he reflected on Chicago's exit because job not finished, because they played Boston last night, on Saturday night, and they lost to Boston 145-113 in TD Garden. So he came back. His first game in Boston since he was suspended for the 2022-2023 season for multiple violations of team rules and being removed as the Celtics head coach. that he never finished the job he was hired to do. He said, "Job not finished." Udoka quoted and said, he said when asked how he looks back on that season and subsequent move from the job. So yeah, they lost to the Celtics last night, 145 to 113. He said the relationships you build, the people you impact. So that'd be the biggest thing I think about. I formed those relationships within a year. Obviously, want to get a chance to run it back with the group you feel you can build and grow with. So letting the people down. I talked about the players, the relationships I built with them, the coaches that came with me, and then everybody else that was impacted by it. So for me, that's the biggest thing I would say overall is letting some people down, for sure. But we've talked it out, and I've seen a lot of these people throughout the summer and talked regularly, so we moved past it. Joker was, when asked afterwards if he was glad this game was over, he said it kind of didn't matter to me at all. During his long season with Boston, he led a remarkable turnaround. Celtics beginning the season of 2021-2022 season with a 23-24 record for the late January before going on a 28-7 stretch to end the regular season, then advanced to the finals for the first time since 2010. They won series victories over the Brooklyn Nets, Milwaukee Bucks, and Miami Heat. Last game, Udoka coached for the franchise in the building at TD Bank. The Boston lost to the Golden State Warriors in Game 6 of the 2022 Finals as the Warriors won their fourth championship. So stuff like that was the article that was written about that. So I'm going to go long-winded with that, but I want to get to more NBA stuff. But LeBron James was out with an ankle injury as Lakers lost to Utah 132 to 125 in Salt Lake City. He turned his ankle in the first half against the Phoenix Suns as they lost 127 to 109 on Thursday. So he stayed in the context of the injury where he just allowed 24 minutes and had to score a season-low 10 points on 3 for 11 shooting. It was James' fourth missed game this season. Anthony Davis recorded second career triple-double, 15 points, 15 rebounds, 11 assists. He did shoot 5 of 21 from the field, committed 6 turnovers. So the Lakers are 19-21, 2-6 in his past 8 games. Utah is 21-20 and is 8-1 in his past 9. The Jazz have won their past 4 games. They have won by an average of 18 points, including a 145-113 blowout of the Toronto Raptors. Also was missing from the rotation was D'Angelo Russell with a right knee contusion, Cam Reddish with a left knee soreness. Both listed as questionable, and played for the Lakers with the former finishing with 39 points. So that's storyline that, as far as that is concerned. Let's look at the 39. Who scored 39 points? Trying to see what happens with that. Scored 39. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell, he scored 39 points. D'Angelo Russell, he scored 39 points. He was the one that did. Let's go over the scores from last night. Also, big news: Ja Morant, he's out for the season because he had a torn labrum. Let's get into that. That was big because that's gonna hurt this season. They're not gonna be the same. They're not going nowhere. I mean, he was a big time player. Yes, they got that Marcus Smart in the trade, but he's not Ja Morant. So he's out for the season. It's sad to see that. He came back, he was doing good, played strong, but he's gonna have season-ending surgery for his right shoulder. And he posted an Instagram story. He posted a photo of himself in a hospital bed following the procedure, along with the blue heart emoji, a person lotus pose emoji, a trademark emoji, and an hourglass emoji. And he said, what you went through has a purpose. So does your life. Focus on your life's purpose and you get through this trying time. Yeah, you had subluxation of his right shoulder during a training session on Saturday. And an MRI later revealed underlying labral tear that required surgery. That's what the Grizzlies announced Monday. This is an old story. This is published on January 11th in the New York Post. It's about this situation of Ja Morant. So he's out for the season, man. Season-ending surgery on his shoulder. So The end of the season of just 9 games. He's expected to recover fully for the 2024-2025 season. And that is just a tough loss, really, because he had been playing pretty good since he's been back. So I wanted to get into that. All right, back to the scores from last night. Knicks beat the Grizzlies 106-94. The Bucks beat the Warriors 129-118. The Thunder beat the Magic 112-100. The Thunder's playing very well. They're one of the most surprising teams in this NBA season. They're 27-11. They're looking very, very good. Look at the box score. I mean, Rashad Alexander is playing outstanding. He had 37 points, 13 of 20 from the field, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. This Oklahoma City Thunder is very up and coming, very young, and they're going to be forced to be reckoned with in the Western Conference. You know what I'm saying? Just life after, a guys like Durant and Westbrook. They're doing very good. They've been able to rebuild and do well since those guys, departed from Oklahoma City. So they're doing very good. Orlando was playing pretty good. They're 21-18. So the Thunder and Minnesota Timberwolves, big time surprises as far as like how they're leading in that Western Conference. Man, this is definitely impressive. The Pelicans are playing good. They won against the Mavericks last night. They won 118-108. Jordan Hawkins had 34 points, the rookie. In his 11 starts to lead 7 New Orleans players in double figures to beat the Dallas Mavericks. This is a good game for us between two winning teams. Dallas is 23-17, while the Pelicans are 24-16. So that's a big win for them. Pelicans are playing very good, man. They're a very dangerous team. Looks like Zion Williamson didn't play last night. The Pelicans. We'll have to see what happened with him. Why he didn't play last night. Because they need him to be in tip-top shape and playing at a high level. But he did not play last night. See, he was hurt. Yeah, he was out with some type of injury. He was on an injury report. Oh, they rested him for rest. Brandon Ingram had a right Achilles soreness, right ankle sprain for C.J. McCollum. Trey Murphy had a left knee tendonitis. So he was out. Basically, they rested him. So they didn't got him doing nothing else. What I see, rest. All right. See, I'm gonna look at the NBA scores and then go over the standings and take my break and go over some other scores from the NBA. Go over the games that they'll play today. Even though we got the playoffs today, we still got some games played on for today in the NBA for today. All right, Bulls beat the Spurs 122-116. The Jazz beat the Lakers 132-125. Wizards beat the Hawks 127-99. The Celtics beat Celtics beat the Rockets 113. All right, so there are games on today. Even though we got 2 playoff games today at 3:30. This is a good game. The Nuggets 27-13. They faced the Pacers or 23-15. The Heat or 22-16 played the Hornets for 8-28. The Kings 23-15 played the Bucks or 27-12. And the Clippers and the Timberwolves. This is a good game right here. Timberwolves are 27-11. Played the Clippers or 25-13. And this is a bad game right here. The Suns played the Trailblazers 20-18. Suns against the 10-28 Trailblazers. So that's the storyline that for the game, today's games. See, tomorrow's MLK Day, so we're gonna have a lot of games on tomorrow. The Rockets against the 76ers, Pelicans against the Mavericks, Magic against the Knicks, Pistons against the Wizards, Spurs against the Hawks, the Warriors play the Grizzlies. That's a bad game. That's on TNT. That's a terrible game. Again, tomorrow you got 2 playoff games. So you got the basketball games on MLK Day. You got 2 playoff games on MLK Day in the NFL. So most of this is gonna be on NFL anyway. But they got 2 games on TNT. They're bad games. Spurs 7-31 against the Hawks 15-23 at 3:30. Then you got the Warriors and the Grizzlies at 6:00 p.m. Warriors are 18-21. The Grizzlies, obviously no John Morant, he's out for season of surgery on his shoulder. They 14-25. Then you got the Bulls and the Cavaliers 19-22. Cavaliers 22-15. Heat 22-16 against the 16-22 Nets. Celtics 30-9. They still got the best record in the NBA. The Raptors are 15-24, and the Pacers 23-15 against the Jazz were 21-20. And the Lakers play the Thunder. Thunder are 27-11. Lakers are 19-21. That'll be at 10:30. Let's look at the stands real quick. Again, Boston has the best record in the NBA. They're 30-9. Boston Celtics. 19-0 at home. Interesting. They have not lost a home game this season. They're 19-0 at home. That's interesting. Haven't lost a home game yet. Milwaukee is 27-12. Philly is 24-13. Indiana 23-15. Cleveland is 22-15. New York 23-16. And Miami's 22-16. Orlando 21-18. Chicago 19-22. Brooklyn is 16-22. Then you look at the Western Conference, a tie for the best record in the West. Minnesota is 27-11. OKC is 27-11. Denver is only a game behind them. They're 27-13. Clippers are 25-13. Sacramento is 23-15. And Orleans Pelicans are behind them in that conference. Let's go back to the standings again. Quick. Right. So Sacramento is 5th place, 23-15. The Pelicans are 24-16, 23-17. Dallas, Phoenix 20-18. Utah is 21-20, and Houston is 19-19. So there's a lot of teams with winning records in the Western Conference, from number 1 to number 8, winning records, and 9. The nine places, first place, 9th place, 9th place, in that Western Conference, very, very filled with teams with winning records. Same thing in the Western Conference, from first place to like 8th place. Everybody got a winning record. Everybody else under the 9th place. Wolves 19-22. Everybody else under 500. All right, so that's it. My time is up for 2:30. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed my analysis of the college football season. Put a capper to the college football season. Salute to the Michigan Wolverines, the champions of college football for 2023. Congrats to them for beating Washington 34-13, and move on from there. And then I talked about the UFC fighting schedule. I couldn't find anything for today. I'll say that for next week. And did the NBA analysis for the NBA for the National Basketball Association. Give you news and notes and the schedule and the games and stuff like that, etc. I'll break down that. So take my 4 music break songs and come back with more of the Rashad Show, the special edition, from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We're talking about the NFL, National Football League. I didn't get into that in detail, get into a lot of stuff for the regular season, games that were played last week for the conclusion of the regular season, go over that, picks of the week, and then go over the playoff games from yesterday, which none but blowouts. There was no dramatic thing that was going on that was very anticlimactic. And then get to the keys to games, which you need to know about these 2 games this week. Today, Dallas and Green Bay, and Detroit and LA, the Rams and the Lions. And tomorrow we got Pittsburgh and Buffalo tomorrow at 4:30, because the snowstorm that canceled the game. The game could be going on right now, but they canceled it for 4:30 tomorrow. And then you got the 8:15 matchup between Tampa Bay and Philly. So again, all to the keys to the game is going to be all NFL throughout the second half of the Rashad Show. I'll take my full music break songs and come back with more of the Rashad Show special edition from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 353rd episode. Until then, be right back. also live on Job Scope Radio from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Job Scope Radio. Let's get into some NFL talk. All about NFL the rest of the show. I see some right here. So it says that the LA Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, are first to meet with Jim Harbaugh about the vacancy. Because there's no Brandon Staley got fired. There's a lot of vacancies open. There's a lot to get into. First point, before I get into the playoff stuff, first I gotta start with the guys that left as far as the coaches. Pete Carroll, I feel like he got stepped down. He's no longer going to be the coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Also, Bill Belichick, no surprise there. He stepped down after coaching for 24 years, 24 seasons with the Patriots. He's no longer the coach. After winning 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots, he's stepping down. They parted ways, so I think he's going to be coaching somebody else, whether it be the Chargers, Atlanta, Carolina. I don't think Vegas going to have him as a coach. I think Antonio Pierce, he could be like the leading candidate. Looks like he's the leading candidate for that job. Seattle, Tennessee, Washington. One of those openings, I think they got to consider Bill Belichick. His ability to do what he has to do with his schemes, and he's got to have the talent around the quarterback. That's the reason why Patriots wasn't that good, because after Brady left, it wasn't the same team. It was always a bad team. So, but Jim Harbaugh, he's already about to meet the Los Angeles Chargers for the vacancy at the Chargers. So what that tells you, that means that he may be out at Michigan, possibly. If he takes what the Chargers offers him, he'd be in the NFL. Wouldn't shock me, because Brandon Staley got fired, so they definitely looking for a coach. So yeah, I want to get into the coaching aspect, because there's a lot of changes that happened this week in the NFL. We talk about the coaching aspect. Pete Carroll, we'll see. We double check, see did he step down or did he get fired? Pete Carroll. That's the thing. Because when you step down, okay, then you parted ways. That means that you got fired. It means that you decided part ways. So I'm trying to figure that out. We won a Super Bowl, obviously with Seattle. Could have won another one if it wasn't for that bad pass by Russell Wilson, picked off by Malcolm Butler. He may not even get into the Hall of Fame just because of that mishap. So they could have won 2 titles in a row, and Seattle could have had a dynasty, which is a dynasty that wasn't. You look at his tenure as a coach at Seattle Seahawks, they could have been like a dynamic dynasty. They could have had a great run. But one championship, I don't think it's going to get him in. He's probably not going to make it. But I'm trying to figure out, did he step down from Seattle or did he get fired? Obviously, he was out. Okay. On January 10th, 2024, Carroll and the Seahawks mutually agreed he will step down from his head coaching role. And he will remain with the team as an advisor, so he stepped down, so he didn't get fired. Alright, so Bill Belichick, he's gone as the head coach. They did the same thing with Pete Carroll. They decided to part ways, so he didn't get fired. They just decided to go in a different direction, go the separate ways, and move on from there. So it wasn't no firing. So he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be coaching somebody else. I don't think he's gonna be without coaching. I think he's gonna continue to coach. I just think that he's going to be a head coach somewhere. Did a lot of great things, like I said, as a coach. Maybe the greatest coach ever. Maybe. Definitely the top 10. Definitely the top 5. 302 regular season wins, 165 losses, 31-13 in the postseason career. Overall, 333 wins, 178 losses. So his body work speaks for itself. When we talk about what he's done, he makes the difference. He's definitely a big time. He's big time in what he does as a coach. He knows what it takes to get it done. That's what it comes down to. It comes to that situation. So So to me, I think Bill Belichick will be coaching again. He will not, he's a lifer. He loves coaching, and I think he's going to, come back and coach. I just don't see him just sitting back and not coaching a team. I think he's going to coach. I think he's going to do it. I think it's going to happen. I don't know who it's going to be, but whoever guys has a vacancy, they should consider Bill Belichick. They should. He's got to have the right pieces around him and have the quarterback around him to make that happen. I just think it's going to happen. I think it will. That's just my decision. I mean, that's my perspective on that. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to coach as far as that's concerned. So I wanted to start with the head coaching aspect of what happened this week, because it was definitely a big time week with coaches like Nick Saban retiring, and you have Bill Belichick stepping down, parting ways, and Pete Carroll parting ways. You know what I'm saying? That all that succession all week that went down as far as that's concerned. So I wanted to start the second half of the show talking about that. So they made a mutual decision to part ways and move forward. So he didn't get fired, he just parted ways. That's it. He's only had 1 year. He had 1 year remaining on his contract. Also, Jarrett Mayo, is the new head coach of the Patriots. He's the first black head coach to coach the Patriots. So he played with the Jarrett Mayo played with the Patriots, and he was the captain for a long time. He did his thing. So Jarrett Mayo is the coach. He played with the Patriots as a linebacker from 2008 to 2015. Because of what he brought to the table and what he brings to the table, he became the head coach. So that's what it comes down to. And when you look at what he has accomplished, now he's going to have a successor. Again, it's going to be tough to fill his shoes with Mayo, but Mayo's going to be the guy. He already was named the coach this past week. He's the youngest coach in the league, I believe. Jarrett Mayo. I believe so. I think he's just looking up Jarrett Mayo's career. I think he was a team captain. I think he was a team captain for the team. When you're on the team, when he was a linebacker. Look him up. I think it's the case. Gotta check. Let me double check. Went to the University of Tennessee. Drafted in 2008. Won a championship. Let's see if he was the captain. The top 10 pick also. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, he was named defensive captain in 2010. He's named captain. So I guess he's been captain for a long time. The captain of the team. Yeah, he's voted co-captain by his teams for the 4th straight year. So he's been a long time captain. That speaks volumes, man. When you are a captain of a team, defensively, whatever it is, that shows that you are a big time player. Not as a man, not just a player, but as a man. Because he's known for his well-known work ethic. He earned a reputation as a player who shows up early, staying late, watching film, practicing hard, put himself through intense workouts in the team's weight room. That's what he was about. And that's why he has the job that he has, because of that. That's the reason. That's the reason. The reason why he's doing what he's done to be where he's at today, because of that. So that's the reason why he's the head coach. Because he been the captain, the work ethic. He deserves to be the head coach of the Patriots, and he's the first black to be, hired as a coach, as a black coach, coaching the Patriots. That's huge. That speaks volumes. To replace a legend. You're gonna see about that. All right, so as I continue on, done with the coaching talk. Let's get into the football on the field, not just the off the field, but on the field. So I'm gonna reverse back to last week in week 18. I was first one to get into my picks of the week. So I did that for week 18. Let's get into that first and foremost. Right, last week I was 4-1 with the picks of the week. I picked the Cowboys over the Commanders. I picked the Buccaneers over the Panthers, Texans over the Colts, Jaguars over the Titans, Saints over the Falcons. The only game I got wrong was the Jaguars over the Titans. Now the Jaguars started the season 8-3, and they collapsed. They lost 5 of their last 6, I believe, and they're not in the playoffs. And with that loss that Jaguars suffered against the Titans, that helped get the Steelers in. The Steelers were able to get in because of the losses the Jaguars had against the Titans. So, make long story short, Jaguars and the Titans, that game I got wrong because I picked the Jaguars to win. Saints and the Falcons I got right. Texans and the Colts I got right. Falcons, Buccaneers over the Panthers I got right. Cowboys over the Commanders I got right. But outside of that, I got one game wrong. Jaguars over the Titans. So I was 4-1 overall. Conclude the regular season. I was 60-30 for the regular season overall. So I want to get that out the way. So that's it for the regular season. All right, let's go over the games from last week with the indication. Now, the Steelers beat the Ravens last week. So with Jacksonville losing, Steelers made the playoffs. The Steelers won against the Baltimore Ravens. They rested most of their guys, so they was able to get into the playoffs anyhow with a 10-7 record. They will play Buffalo tomorrow afternoon due to the cancellation of the game today because of the snowstorm. They're gonna play 4:30 tomorrow, Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So Jacksonville losing, the Steelers got in with a win and with a loss by Jacksonville. Texans, they clinched the AFC South because they beat Indianapolis. They was able to get the playoff spot, but they also won the division because Jacksonville lost to Tennessee. So they're AFC champs. They're the most surprising team in the league by far. Simple as that. I don't think nobody, if you are a fan of Houston Texans, did you think that the Houston Texans will be in the playoffs? And not only that, be one win away from going to the AFC Championship game? Who thought that with a rookie coach, DeMeco Ryans, and a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud? Who thought that would happen? But it's about to happen, possibly, because they obviously beat Cleveland yesterday. I'll get to that in a few. But I want to get into the NFL from last week, go over that. So as I continue on last Sunday, the Buccaneers won the NFC South. They beat the Panthers 9-0. So they are the NFC South champions. And Tampa Bay will play host to Philadelphia tomorrow night. The Bengals beat the Browns. That game didn't mean nothing. Lions beat the Vikings. That didn't mean nothing. Jets and the Patriots. That didn't mean anything. The only thing that meant something was that was the last coaching game for the one and only Bill Belichick. And that was it for that. That's the only storyline for that. Saints beat the Falcons 48-17. Both teams not going to the playoffs. Jaguars and the Titans. Obviously, the Jaguars picked the wrong time to start losing. They were 8-3 during this season, and they missed a chance to win back-to-back AFC South titles since 1998, 1999. So their loss cost them a postseason. Again, they had everything controlled. It's a classic case of it's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's not how you start the season. It's how you finish the season. It's how you go into the season with momentum. What they did was they started 8-3 and then they lose 5 out of 6. That's the same thing that the Philadelphia Eagles going through, even though they're in the playoffs. When you get into that, no A.J. Brown, he's not playing tomorrow, so that's a huge loss for them. But they started 10-1, and now they limping into the playoffs. But Jacksonville was out because they lost the Titans. Seahawks and the Cardinals, that game didn't mean anything. The Packers got in the playoffs, beating the Bears. So they're in the postseason. They clinched the playoff berth. They play the Cowboys today. Chiefs and Chargers didn't mean nothing. Raiders and the Broncos didn't mean nothing. The Giants and the Eagles didn't mean anything. Now the Eagles had a chance to win the division, but they had to have a win, and the Cowboys had to lose. So the Cowboys won the division. They beat the Commanders 38-10, so they're the division champions. The Cowboys. Rams beat the 49ers. That didn't mean anything. The Bills beat the Dolphins 21-14. The Bills clinched their fourth consecutive AFC East championship in the division. They are the number 2 seed. So that's the 4th straight season they've won the AFC East. They are the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. All right, so that's it for that. So let's get into the wild card games from yesterday. Obviously, I was dead wrong. My picks of the week for the playoffs, I had the Texans losing to the Browns. Give credit to the Texans, man. Simple. This team has poise, even though no matter how young they are. C.J. Stroud played an excellent game. He did an excellent job. He became the first quarterback, the youngest quarterback to win a playoff game. So this guy's making history. C.J. Stroud, coming out of Ohio State. He threw for 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. Played like he's been in the league for 10 years. He's very, very low profile, even keeled, poised quarterback. He knows how to make plays, man. He's definitely making it happen. He threw 3 touchdowns, 15 yards to Nico Collins, 76 yards to Brevin Jordan, and Dalton Schultz, 37, 22 years old, 102 days old. Stroud passed Michael Vick, who was 22 years and 192 days old in 2002 when the Falcons beat the Packers. So he's a guy that's definitely playing beyond his years as far as maturity at the quarterback. He's definitely making it happen. I mean, this team blew out the Browns 45-14. They did with defense, 2 pick sixes from Steven Nelson, Christian Harris. What can you say? This Houston team is for real. They were back in the playoffs for the first time since 2018, and DeMeco Ryans doing a great job, and Stroud's doing a great job in their first year as rookies. It's amazing. It's amazing what they're doing right now. I mean, this is crazy. They went from a laughing stock to AFC South champion, so there's nothing else you can say. Joe Flacco did his best. It was his 17th postseason game, but first in 9 years, just didn't have it. He did his best, but it wasn't good enough. So give credit where it's due to Houston, for Cleveland, what they're going to do next year, what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson. Will he get back to what he used to be? Obviously he has to be the quarterback next year. I don't think it's going to be Joe Flacco, obviously, but it is what it is. Also, the Texans are the first team to return to 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the game since Seattle did it against Washington on January 5th, 2008. All right, so that's the storyline with that. Houston blows out the Browns in the playoff game last night, yesterday afternoon, and they won that game. Then you got the Dolphins and the Chiefs. This game was not a great game, 26-7. It was a score. Kansas City handled their business. And near record low temperatures, very cold, one of the coldest games we're ever going to have in the playoff game. Very low temperature, but they won 26-7. So that ends the Miami Dolphins season. Patrick Mahomes threw for 262 yards. Rashad Rice had 8 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco ran the ball for 89 yards. And they won the game 26-7. And also they had help from Harrison Buckner with the field goals, 4 field goals, and they won 26-7. Matter of fact, they got after Tua Tagovailoa. He was pressured relentlessly by the NFL's second-ranked defense, and Tyreek Hill scored a 50-yard touchdown, but that's all they did. They only had 264 yards in all. And also, Dolphins have not won at Arrowhead Stadium since November 6, 2011, nor a playoff game since December 30th, 2000. Wow. They just dealing with the Dolphins, so it's been a long time since the Dolphins had a playoff game. By what I see. Let me double check that. Wow, that's a long time. That's over 20 years since the Dolphins won a playoff game. So let me get into that real quick. The last Miami Dolphins playoff win. When the last time they won a playoff game? Okay, December 30th. Yeah, December 30th, 2000. That's the last time the Miami Dolphins won a playoff game. You gotta go back to December 30th, 2000. That's over 20 years ago. It's 24 years. So it's been a long time. So the drought continues for the Dolphins. Not winning a playoff game, let alone win the game in Arrowhead. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa didn't play that great. He was 20 of 39, 199 yards. That's not going to cut it. Tyreek Hill had 5 catches for 62 yards. Waddle 2 for 31. And this is the most explosive offense in the league. They didn't run the ball particularly well. Total of 6 yards. Again, they were down by a lot at times in this game, but still, Kansas City handled their business. They played well, so now they advance to the second round. They'll be on the road either against the Bills. Because what will happen is if the Steelers win tomorrow, the Steelers will play the Ravens, and I believe the Chiefs will play Houston. If Buffalo beats the Steelers tomorrow, then the Bills will play the Chiefs, and Houston will play Baltimore. So that's the scenario with that. You know, the Steelers win, they play Baltimore, and the Chiefs will play Houston. But if the Bills beat Pittsburgh tomorrow, then the Bills will play the Chiefs, and Houston will play Baltimore. Houston and Baltimore, Chiefs and Bills. That is the scenario happens. Right, so that's it for that. We're going from there. Now let's get into a few of the games. That's the next step. You look into what you need to know about these games that's going to be played today. Let's break it down. All right, we got 2 games today. Obviously, we got the Packers and the Cowboys. Now, obviously, the Packers and the Cowboys have met a lot. This will be their 9th matchup between these 2 rivals going back to the 60s. I believe they played 8 times in the postseason. 4-4 is the record. 4 wins for the Cowboys and 4 wins for the Packers. Look at their playoff history. Yeah, they played 8 times in the postseason, and each time winning 4th time. So this is an even matchup. Last time these 2 teams, the Packers and Cowboys, met in the playoffs was on January 15th. 2017 divisional round, where Mason Crosby made a 51-yard field goal as the time expires, as the Packers beat the Cowboys 34-31. So now we'll see who's going to break the tie. I think it's going to be the Cowboys. That's my pick. Let me go over the picks of the week real quick for the wild card. Obviously, I was wrong with the Browns beating the Texans. I was right with the Chiefs beating the Dolphins. Now today, I got the Cowboys over the Packers, the Lions over the Rams, and tomorrow I got the Bills over the Steelers. I got the Eagles over the Buccaneers. Even though the Eagles don't have A.J. Brown, I still gotta go with the Eagles to get something done in advance. I won't be shocked if the Buccaneers win. I think that obviously the Eagles are not the same team as they was last year. Alright, so let's continue on. Alright, Cowboys and the Packers. Number 2 seed Cowboys, number 7 seed Packers. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Let's look into this game. Obviously, a lot of history between these 2 franchises. The Ice Bowl, known as the 1967 NFL Championship game. You got 2014 divisional playoff round with Dez Bryant, where he caught the ball or not. Then the 2016 divisional playoff round game when Aaron Rodgers made a 35-yard completion to set up a game-winning field goal. That was Dak Prescott's first playoff start. And now in this game, Jordan Love will be making his first playoff start. And also Mike McCarthy, the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, who was a coach with the Packers for a long time, was on silent for those last 2 games. But now he gets a chance to end his former team's season, advances to the divisional round, the playoffs for the 2nd straight season. All right, stat to know is that the Packers are 5-0 at AT&T Stadium all time, including the playoffs. 4-0 versus the Cowboys, plus a Super Bowl 45 win against the Steelers. That's an interesting stat, because the Cowboys have a 16-game winning streak at home. They have not lost in a long time, so something's got to give. So you got the Packers who are 5-0 at that stadium, AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys have won 16 straight games. So keep your eyes on that. Also, matchup X factor. Jordan Love. This should be Dallas' game. It shouldn't be that close. But since week 10, the top players in QBR have been Prescott and Love. If Love can pull out an exceptional game, Green Bay has a real chance. The key to this game possibly is that if Dallas can scheme some interior pass rushing plays for Michael Parsons, led the NFL in pass rush win rate this season with 35.4%, and there will be opportunities when he kicks inside. Officiating note is that the Cowboys have been exceptional this season at drawing coverage penalties from opponents who have been flagged NFL high 31 times for defensive pass interference, defensive holding, or illegal contact. It's a big reason why the Cowboys led the league with 43 first downs via penalty. The Packers shell coverage was only flagged 16 times for coverage fouls. The NFL's 7th fewest. Got the Cowboys win this game. Then you got tonight's game, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday Night Football. Number 6 seeded Los Angeles Rams against the number 3 seeded Detroit Lions. This is a great matchup, man. You look at Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. Obviously, they were traded for each other in 2021. It's the Lions' first home playoff game since 1993. And these are the two former number one overall picks at quarterback that face off for the second time, since being traded for each other in 2021. So you got two former number 1 overall picks at quarterback, and there's no choice to spend as Lions coach Dan Campbell will try to lead Detroit to its first postseason victory since 1991. And Sean McVay, Rams coach, is looking to improve on his 7-3 career record in playoff games. Stat knows that the Lions went for it on 4th down 34% of the time this season, the highest of any team this century. The Rams went for it 17% of the time, which ranked 20th this season. But Los Angeles might consider being more aggressive on 4th down, as it has missed 16 combined field goals and extra points this season, the most by any team since the 2001 Steelers in 17. The matchup X factor is the Lions edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson. Why is that? Because he finished the regular season with red hot with 5 sacks, a forced fumble, and a 19% pass rush win rate at edge in his final 2 games. If he keeps that up, that would be huge for the Lions defense. The game plan key is to keep your eyes on Lions running backs like David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Exceed volume on tonight, especially out of 11 personnel, because the Rams 4.9 yards per carry against such alignments this season. The Rams allow 4.9 yards per carry against such alignments this season. The 11 personnel. See volume with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, running backs of the Lions. Officiating note is that the Lions' challenge in covering the Rams' passing game will be enhanced by the proclivity to commit coverage penalties. They were flagged 29 times for defensive pass interference, defensive holding, or illegal contact, the 5th most in the NFL. They were also flagged 6 times for roughing the passer, tied for the 4th most. Referee Craig Rashad threw 4 flags for roughing the passer during the regular season, tied for 6th fewest. Now let's get to tomorrow's games. Obviously, the Steelers-Bills game has been postponed due to the inclement weather. A major snowstorm is coming, like 3 feet inches of snow. 3 feet, 1 to 3 feet inches. 1 to 3 feet of snow. So it's going to be a big time snowstorm. So that's why they canceled the game. So we got the Steelers and the Bills for tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS. I got Buffalo in this game. I just think Buffalo has a lot of pressure on them. They go into this game with a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence. So I think it's their time to really make a run. It's supposed to be like, 3 feet of snow. 1 to 2 feet of snow, 3 feet of snow. That's why they canceled the game. So it's going to be really, really heavy over in Buffalo. As I'm looking at it right now, there's a winter storm warning remains in effect from 7 until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. So it's going to be heavy lake effect snow and blowing snow, 10 to 20 inches. And the most persistent lake snows south of Buffalo with storm totals of 1 to 2 feet inches of snow. Local amounts of 2 to 3 feet possible across the Buffalo South Towns, Erie, Genesee, and Wyoming counties. That's what I see here. As Buffalo is concerned. Right, so let's get back to this game between the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers quickly. Right, the roads that the Bills and Steelers took to this game contain a number of similarities, from losing key players to injury for stretches to putting together season-ending winning streaks despite low playoff odds. Both teams also fired their offensive coordinators at mid-season, becoming the first playoff teams to have an in-season coordinator change since the 2012 Ravens. The Steelers are looking for their first playoff win as a team since 2016. The Bills are 13-2 in home playoff games since 1970. Limiting quarterback Josh Allen in the postseason will pose a challenge to Pittsburgh. Allen is the only player in NFL playoff history to average 250 passing yards and 50 rushing yards per game, minimum of 5 games, has the highest combined average yardage, 343.9. Stat to know is that the Steelers had 9 wins and 1 score games during the regular season, which led the NFL and are the most in a single season in franchise history. Major X factor is the Bills left tackle Deion Dawkins. With edge rusher TJ Watt out, Alex Highsmith is even more crucial to the Steelers pass rush. Deion Dawkins, left tackle of the Bills, who has had a really nice season, ranking 4th in pass block win rate among tackles, can shut down Highsmith. That should set up Allen for a pretty smooth sailing kind of day. Now, the game plan may be about the Pittsburgh Steelers having to run the ball well between the tackles. Harrison Warren finished the regular season hot. Buffalo allowed 4.6 yards per carry on inside runs this season, 30th in the NFL. So keep your eyes on Najee Harris, run the football and pound the rock until they get 100+ yards along with Jalen Warren. So keep your eyes on the running game, the running attack of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's that poorish run defense of Buffalo, because they're giving up 4.6 yards per carry. So your Pittsburgh Steelers, especially in that kind of weather with the snow and all that, team's not going to be so good. You've got to run the football. That's the best friend for a quarterback, for Mason Rudolph. So see what happens with that. Okay, the officiating note is that this game will benefit from one of the NFL's most trusted referees, Carl Cheffers. He has been the Super Bowl referee in 2 of the past 3 seasons, 2 of the past 3 years, and 3 times in the past 7. His regular season crew threw the 3rd fewest flags in the league, 12.1 per game. And finally, we got the nightcapper, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday night. We got the number 5 Eagles, the 5th seeded Eagles of Philadelphia, and the 4th seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Philadelphia Eagles, the defending NFC champions, trying to keep their hopes alive for the Super Bowl championship. Now they got to do it the hard way, going on the road, starting their run against the Buccaneers. And this is a rematch of Week 3. That Bucs inside linebacker Devin White accurately predicted that for the Bucs 25-11 home loss on Monday Night Football. But these 2 teams have headed in opposite directions, rightly so, because the Buccaneers have won 5 of their past 6 games, while the Eagles have lost 5 of their past 6, despite starting 10-1. So the Bucs will also see a different looking defense since senior assistant Matt Patricia took in Week 15. Both quarterbacks are dealing with injuries. Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield has not only a rib injury, but also an ankle injury. And also Jalen Hurts hurt his finger against the Giants on his throwing hand in Week 18. That knows that Jalen Hurts has struggled with the ball security against the blitz this season, throwing 5 touchdown passes with 8 interceptions. Those 8 turnovers were the most by any quarterback when blitzed this season. This weekend, Hurts will face a Tampa Bay defense that blitzed at the 3rd highest rate during the regular season. Major X factor is Hurts' finger. Jalen Hurts' finger. He said on Thursday that he hadn't thrown a ball since injuring his finger in Week 18. So if that injury hampers his ability to throw the ball on Monday night, it's going to be a different kind of ball game. Now the game plan for this game, so the key to this game, for the game plan, is possibly keep your eyes on the running game of DeAndre Swift of the Philadelphia Eagles. He ran for 130 yards against Tampa Bay back in Week 3. And feed him the running game could help the Eagles get into a rhythm. Officiating note, for all the public tests the Eagles that endured over their offensive linemen lining up both sides on tush push plays. The bigger story is that their offensive line was flagged an NFL low 8 times for offensive holding. The Buccaneers' defensive front drew 22 such flags, tying for 16th most. Okay, so that's it for that. So I think it's going to be what it is. I think it's going to be games this weekend, the rest of this weekend. I think Dallas going to beat the Packers in a blowout. I think the Eagles going to come back and get it done. They're going to beat Tampa Bay. They'll find a way to win. I think that's going to be the narrative with that, as far as that is concerned. So let's check on injuries of today for both teams. Look at the Packers and Cowboys. As far as the injury report is concerned, who's going to be playing, who's going to be out today. The injury report. Cooper Rush, quarterback, obviously he's not going to play, but he's questionable. Brandon Cooks had full participation in practice. Stephon Gilmore, he had an injury to his shoulder. He did not practice at all, possibly this week. Jonathan Hankins, defensive tackle, did not participate in practice. He has an ankle injury. Dorrance Armstrong Jr., defensive end, ankle injury. Marcus Lawrence rest, full participation in practice. Tyler Smith, offensive lineman, had a foot injury, limited in practice this week. For the Packers, got A.J. Dillon, doubtful with at running back with a thumb injury, did not participate in practice. Christian Watson, wide receiver, questionable, hamstring injury, limited participation in practice. Jair Alexander, questionable, shoulder injury, did not participate in practice. Romeo Dobbs, wide receiver, unknown, chest, limited in practice. Elton Jenkins, offensive lineman, knee injury, limited participation in practice. Concussion for Isaiah McDuffie, linebacker, limited in practice. Preston Smith, linebacker, ankle, limited participation in practice. Zach Tom, offensive lineman, finger, full participation in practice. A lot of injuries. A lot of people on the injury report. Let's look at the Eagles. The Bucks injury report. I don't think what's name playing. AJ Brown, I think he's out. So let's look into that. Now, A.J. Brown, wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the league, he's out due to his knee injury. So that's going to be a huge loss. I still think the Eagles going to pull out a win, but that's a big loss for the Eagles. So they're going to have Devontae Smith step up, and Julio Jones. He's a future Hall of Famer. He should be able to get more of a role, more significant role in that offense. So I think that's why I think the Eagles are going to win. Now, the defense is not that great. The secondary is not that great, obviously. Then with Mike Evans getting thrown the ball by Baker Mayfield. But A.J. Brown is out. Will not be playing for the Eagles. He's out because his knee injury did not participate in practice. Okay, Sidney Brown, safety, he's out. Knee injury did not participate in practice. Reed Blankenship, safety, questionable for this game. Growing injury, did not participate in practice. Jalen Hurts, he had a finger injury against the Giants. He was limited in participation in practice. DeAndre Swift, running back, illness, full participation in practice. Darius Slay had a knee injury, but he full participation in practice. Devontae Smith, wide receiver, unknown, ankle, full participation in practice, so he's going to play. So that's the storyline. That, like I said, this is my picks of the week. Like I said, I got one right yesterday with the Dolphins beating the Dolphins lose to the Chiefs. Chiefs beating the Dolphins, and I was wrong with the Houston Texans lose to the Browns. So I was 1-1 yesterday. Browns over Texas. I was wrong about that. Texas won. They advanced to the division playoff round. The Chiefs moved the Dogs. I was right about that. And I got the Bills over the Steelers tomorrow at 4:30. And I got the Cowboys over the Packers today. The Lions over the Rams today. And I got the Eagles over the Buccaneers today. So that was my picks of the week for the 4 games in the wild card weekend. Bills over the Steelers, Cowboys over the Packers, Lions over the Rams, Eagles over the Buccaneers. I was 1-1 yesterday. I picked the Browns. The Texans, I was wrong about that, but I was right with the Chiefs and Dolphins. So hopefully that continues. So that's it, man. That's it for the show. That's it for a special edition of the Rashad Show live on Josh Radio. May have a guest next Saturday afternoon. I'll be back in studio in the great studios of Ocean Park, New Jersey next Saturday afternoon. AC Earl, I did have him as a guest on December 30th, but we had like a bad connection. He had a bad connection on Zoom. He has a new book out called The 135 Influential Rap Hip Hop Songs and Why. And his bad connection just was bad, you know. So I'm gonna try to get him on. He's gonna call the show. I'm gonna see if he can call the show and we can resume this interview and continue on with the interview. That'd be much better. Instead of him dealing with the bad connection on Zoom. So AC Earl will come back because he really had reached back to me because I had him on 3 years ago. Had him on the show, and he obviously kept my email address. And he reached out to me to schedule a Zoom interview via Zoom, and it just didn't work out. So he's gonna be calling the show. So I'm gonna reach out to him sometime this week to see if he's still available for the 20th, so we can do better with this interview, have a better interview with this situation on his book. So that's it for the show, man. 353rd episode of the Rashad Show. Hopefully you enjoyed the special edition. Be back in studio next Saturday afternoon from 2 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Josh Radio. It's been a great time. Went over a lot to cover the college football aspect. Students of Michigan Wolverines win the national championship for the 12th time in program history. I think shout out to them for winning the national championship. I talked about that, the coaching carousel. Obviously, Nick Saban retired, and now they got a new coach just like that, Kalen DeBoer, who coached for Washington in the national championship game. You got big shoes to fill to replace a great coach like Nick Saban. So he's a new coach, and you got Jim Harbaugh, who's going to be talking to the Chargers real soon about the vacancy for the Chargers. And obviously, Pete Carroll stepped down, Bill Belichick stepped down, talked about that, talked about the NBA, got a little to his UFC fighting schedule, but there's nothing that I can talk about, so say that for next week. And then talk about the NBA, talk a lot about that, and also the NFL for the second half of the show. So that's it for 353rd episode of the Rashad Show, special edition from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like St. Brown Williams, as always, hold it down in the great studios of Ocean Park, New Jersey, in the control room. I'm your host, Rashad Mitchell, come to you live from location home. Remote location from home. This is Rashad Mitchell, the host. Until then, talk to you next time, next Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock p.m. live only on Josh Radio.